Hello, we are here for another mini-sode and we are covering a true crime case. This was actually brought to my attention by a friend of mine who grew up in Toledo. Knowing that we have this podcast, she said, "Oh, do you remember this story from Morenci, Michigan?" I was actually already living in LA at the time, so I did not remember this story at all. As soon as I looked it up, I mentioned it to Amy. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we have to cover this. This is horrible." I did message the mom on Facebook. She didn't see it. And, if you aren't friends with someone on Facebook, sometimes those get hidden. So maybe she just didn't even know I messaged her, but I didn't get a response. We still wanted to cover this though, because of just the story. It's terrible. And any stories I think that Amy and I can highlight with missing people, missing bodies, missing anything, just for more awareness, we're going to want to start doing more of those.
I agree. I agree. Those are the stories that need to be told because I believe that there is someone out there somewhere that's seen something and may not even realize that they did. But by hearing one of these podcasts or watching something on the news that comes up as an anniversary, those little ways are ways to let it be known. And maybe someone will realize, hey, I do remember this.
Yep, exactly. So, as always, we're going to give out some disclaimers. Some of these are just our opinions. Some of them are going to be facts based on court documents. Some of them are alleged. And we always gather information from a lot of sources. So, some of this is court testimony. Some of these are interviews. Some of this was found online. And we each watched a couple of different shows. I think I watched one maybe on Court TV. Amy watched a couple of other ones. So there is a lot of information that we collected from various sources. So, some of it's fact, some of it's alleged. And again, just our opinions. So we're going to cover the story of the three Skelton brothers who had disappeared in Morenci, Michigan. The first child was Andrew. He was 9 at the time of his disappearance. Today, he would be around 24. And his mom at one point had said, just a little fact about him, that he wanted to be a teacher. And we always like to highlight facts about victims. In this case, we don't have a lot of them, so I just grabbed a few little facts. The second child, the middle child, was Alexander. He was 7. He would be around 22 now. And his mom said that he was just like a super caring kid, always worried about everyone else. And then the youngest brother was Tanner. He was 5 at the time, would be approximately 20 today. And he was in love with and obsessed and always wanted to be around his older brothers. And she did say that they were always together all the time. So the dad's name is John Skelton. I have trouble even referring to this guy as their dad just because. So in most instances, I'm probably going to be referring to him as John and not their dad. So that's just a little side note if you keep hearing me say John. And then their mom, her name is Tanya Zuvers. And we did a little bit of a timeline. So Amy's going to cover that.
Right. This, like Dawn said, we don't have a whole lot of information. Their remains have not been found. They have not found them anywhere living and well. So there's just a lot that we do not know because John is not speaking. In the moment leading up, neighbors and friends said that John, he was acting very strange. He was not acting himself and he was not taking care of himself. You could even tell that if you go back, and I know that I watched some of the earlier court cases where they had kind of showed him coming and going. I didn't really get to watch a lot of the earlier ones like a full, but I did see snippets of him coming and going, and he didn't look very good at all. I'm going to even say he looked like he might have been out there messed up beforehand on some kind of substance. I don't know what that would be, but he definitely did not look like he was good mentally. In September 2010, Tanya files for divorce, and that happens after one day during school. John went and he checked all three children out, and he was preparing to take them to Florida. Somehow Tanya gets wind of this. I can't remember how she said that she did. I watched a little over an hour of her testifying in court, but she got wind of it. She was able to actually stop that because something just telling her it just was not right. Now, when this started happening, she automatically filed for divorce and she filed for temporary custody. That way, she knew that it would not be as hard to fight. That way, she had it before he went to Florida. Because if he had got to Florida with those children, no telling what had happened or what kind of hoops that she would have had to jump through. Sadly, it wasn't much later. They did get in a blow up argument, and he did happen to take off with two of their children. One she was able to keep from getting in the truck, but he did make it to Florida. She did get to Florida as soon as she was able to. She got a lawyer. He lawyered up as well. They come to the conclusion that the lawyer said he really needs to go home. She needs to go home. They need to take the kids back where they live, and the custody needs to go back as the judge in Michigan had said it. And we all know the story of what happened next. Of course, mom had the custody. That's where we were sitting, and they were visiting with their dad. Now, 2010 and Thanksgiving weekend, we start on Wednesday, November 24th. Tanya gave the kids to John for the holiday, and John had made a Facebook post that was really kind of fishy and made a lot of people kind of wonder what was going on. He had made the post that he loved his wife very much. May God and Tanya forgive me. I actually, during this court case that I was watching, where she is going back and she was actually trying at the beginning of this year, or it may have been last year, I'm not sure of the exact date of the case, but she was in court trying to get her children, I hate to say this, pronounced dead, so that she could further her standing with John. But she said that she'd never actually seen that note, which I found that kind of strange. Okay, the way your face is going, did you hear something different?
No, but I saw screenshots of it. So
Oh,
how could she not see it? How bizarre.
she said that she did not see it. I don't know if she was speaking about at that time or
Maybe.
what. But she was trying to get her kids back. She knew that her father had made plans to go buy little outfits to go to a game that they were getting ready to go to. So she had called John wanting to know if she could come and get the kids a little bit earlier than the planned 3 or 4 in the afternoon. He said that he was not at home and he would call her back. She thought that it would just be a cute little way for them to do it. And she wasn't wanting to take away from John's time, but she did want to share that time of picking out those clothes with the children. She waited a little bit later, and she did not live too far. She was staying at, I believe it was a family member's. I didn't catch that little detail because I was listening to some of the other ones, but I believe it was a family member she was staying at, and she could actually see the house from there, and she seen activity in the home and someone coming and going. So she calls him back and she was like, "Hey, are you home?" And he was like, "No, actually, I'm at the hospital. I have hurt my ankle." And she was like, "Okay, well, where are the kids?" And he was like, "A woman that I'd met online not too long ago, she has come and got them and she is going to bring them back to you at 3 or 4. I kind of would have panicked at that point, but I guess that was sufficient. And Tanya was like, "Okay." Time starts getting closer. The kids aren't showing, and she talks to her lawyer. He said, "Now, Tanya, you can't be calling the judge, calling the police, and jumping ahead of your gun." She said, "No." She said, 401. She said, "If my kids are not in my possession, I am calling the police." And she did so. And there we go right into what comes next. She fights and she tries and still can't find her kids. I couldn't imagine. She said that she has been on many podcasts, she has done shows, and gosh, it's 14 years later. That's crazy. That is wild. But the boys, they were last seen Thursday, November 25th in the father's backyard. November 26th, John's phone tracks 24 miles away at 4 a.m. ish in Holiday City, Ohio. And back to Morenci. He was around the area for, I don't know, about an hour-ish, give or take. The Friday after Thanksgiving, he's supposed to return the boys at 3 p.m. Now, I thought that this was kind of strange. They asked her what time was the boys supposed to be returned. She said she wasn't sure. It was 3 to 4-ish. So the prosecutor was like, so 3, or attorney, I'm not sure who was questioning her at that moment, but he was like, so we're going to say 3. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. But I kind of thought that was weird. I would know, even to this day, I'd still remember, what time my children were supposed to be home. But anyways, that Friday after Thanksgiving, he's supposed to return the kids at 3 p.m. That is on Black Friday. She speaks to him in the morning to ask if she can get them early. Again, like I just said, no go. Kind of iffy and wishy-washy on where the kids are and explanations. She couldn't get much out of him. She did eventually speak to someone in the ER, though. Asked her, are you his wife? She said yes. I've already filed for divorce, but we are not divorced yet. And they was like, okay, well, that's close enough. I would like to advise you that he did try to commit suicide. She immediately asked the nurse that she was speaking with, do you know where my kids are? No, there were no kids with him. There were no marks on his neck, and he did say that he had tried to hang himself. I've got my ideas of where that broken ankle come from.
Right. And having no marks and claiming that that's how you try to commit suicide is sketch at best.
If I never would, I just wouldn't. I would be the one that we're not even going to talk about it because I couldn't do it to myself. But if I were attempting to do that to myself and I broke my ankle, I don't think that I would stop and go to the doctor.
Right? You were on a mission of a sort.
Right. So did that just hurt and you abort mission?
Apparently so, but
I'm not buying it.
I'm not either.
Well, I'm not buying it.
And then we can go into some facts about John's story. So there were several things that he was telling people, mostly Tanya, but the police, whoever. There was also a lot of, I'm not answering that. Even in court, he was representing himself, first of all, but there was a lot of, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to say that kind of thing, which is, again, sketchy. So there's
and
that.
He looked like a wild man on top of that.
Right. So the main story that he was telling people was that he gave the kids to 2 women and a man in his 60s. He gave them to live on a farm in Ohio. And these people were in a group called the Underground Sanctuary. They supposedly kept kids safe. He, from an interview, had told the boys that they were going to get the farm boots that they'd been asking for. They were going to be able to ride a tractor, like just making up so much stuff. One of the stories that he had told Tanya was that he killed them and put them in a dumpster. And I don't know if that was supposed to be for shock value for her. Like, I don't know. But I also heard that he claimed he gave them to an Amish woman named, what was her name? Joanna something. Joanna, I can't remember the last name. But anyways, he claimed he gave them to some woman. I don't know if that was supposed to be the same woman as the other woman and the 2 men. I don't know if those people were Amish or if Joanna was Amish. Like, that part I couldn't figure out even with all the research I did. And I think it's because he had told so many stories. So that makes sense why we can't figure that out. Now, something that isn't what we're focusing on, but we wouldn't be true to the story and to our podcast if we don't talk about Tanya. And what John said was his reasoning, and he still does say this to this day, that he wanted to get the kids away from their mom because he claimed she was abusive. He said that they were, quote unquote, sexting with their mom. At least the older boy, Andrew, said that, allegedly. Now, none of this was ever proven. John never came to court with any sort of proof or anything. So that part of the story is just basically something that John was saying. And I think the reason that he was saying that and came up with that is because when Tanya was 32, she was charged with 4th-degree criminal misconduct. This was in the late 90s. She had some kind of either relationship or at least a sexual relationship of some kind, or raped. I really don't know. I couldn't find the court records. So again, this is just going off of online research, but I did read that this went on for 1 to 2 years. And this kid who was 14 was working at a rental property in Morenci that she and her ex owned. And that's how she met this kid. So, I don't want to focus on that, but we can't leave it out of the story. She is a registered sex offender, and I really wish that we could have had her on and given her the opportunity to speak to this part of the story more than anything, because people probably wonder about that situation.
Oh, yeah.
So again, John never proved anything. He never showed any facts. He just used that as an excuse to basically do what he did. Those are some of the claims. I don't know that those are all of the claims of where he says he took the boys or what he did with them. So, yeah. And then there's the Tanya part of it. And then we have some facts that we can go over too, but again, I don't want to focus on her, so we can move on from that, but that's part of the story.
Right. Yeah. It needed to be brought up because he brought it up, but ultimately we know she did not harm these children. We know who did. I wish he would admit that he did.
Yeah.
I don't know, but let's go ahead and jump into some facts. Straps, ropes, and nooses were all found in John's home. He had online searches for poisoning and other ways to kill, how to break a neck. He's also had the noose that was found inside of his van. We both know that he probably would have went back and said, "Oh, well, that was for me." Yeah,
Right.
that's but wait. Okay, I just said that. Could that have been the reason why that's what he used when he went to the emergency room? Because if you look in his van, oh, well, look, he did. I don't know. I'm just looking, you know what I'm saying? Thinking of it that way.
Well, it did seem premeditated because he was doing the whole, I'm going to take the kids to Florida. Like, it did seem premeditated, so it wouldn't surprise me if the plot included the quote unquote suicide attempt and
I agree.
Those ropes, nooses, and all of that.
Oh, yeah, because you could be like, well, this poor soul, go look in his vehicle. He said they're out there. Oh, well, bless, we need to get him some help. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, John left a suicide note before destroying the house because he didn't want Tanya to have anything in their divorce. While she was moving out, she went in and had chose to take a stand of some sort And he was like, no, that's not yours. She was like, yes, it is. You bought it for me as a housewarming present. He was like, nope, I bought it. Well, she brings it back because he's having such a big argument about there's no reason in fighting over something that silly. What does she find destroyed in the house? Right there. It's done. So that right there tells you that he could have cared less about anything that was in that home.
I saw pictures. There was nothing left inside of that house. Every piece of furniture, like when you say destroyed, it was bad.
It was completely like, forget everything that we shared. I don't want you having anything from our past. Everything in this home, I'm destroying it, and I'm destroying our children. Everything that they had together, it's gone. Just
Yeah.
memories now. It's really crazy. Now, John is serving a 15-year sentence for 3 counts of unlawful imprisonment that he pled no contest to. He gets out in November of 2025. Yeah. Now, he's had his parole denied previously in 2020, 2022, and 2023. Because why? They deem him to still be a threat to society. But after November, they don't have a choice. They can't keep him in there any longer because he served his time. March 5th, 2025, the boys were declared dead, but the judge said there was not enough evidence to say he murdered them. I still don't understand. Everything is pointing to there was no other custody of these boys but John. Some believe the death declaration would help bring murder charges on John. I guess that was just in March. We're in April now. So we're going to have to wait and see if it is going to help. I think that is one step closer to what needs to be done.
Yeah, everyone stay out of Morenci after November. Scary.
Yeah. And no mother or would, I guess really it doesn't matter for John. We're not going to put John into this. No mother would want to go to court and petition for her children to be declared dead. But it's something that has to be done for that next step. And then also, she did mention like headstones and a burial spot. She can do that stuff now. Even though she doesn't have their little bodies, she can have a place to go to memorialize them.
Which I'm sure helps with closure too.
Yeah. And good thoughts, prayers, positive vibes, whatever you have and whatever you give out, sent that they are found and could be brought home.
Right. And that's, again, partly why we want to cover these stories. I mean, it was a long time ago, but this case is still ongoing. This guy's up to get out of jail this year, so it's still ongoing.
Yes. And I mean, just think about it. Was you in any of those areas during that time? Maybe was you vacationing? What were the areas again? I'm looking for exact. Holiday City, Ohio, or Morenci, and that would be around November 24th, around that area, 2010. Did you see anything? You can even go further into this case because we're just doing a short one now. And if you were and see who to contact or maybe find out, did I really?
Yeah. And the fact that he was out at 4 a.m., number one, probably knew a lot of people wouldn't be out then, which sucks.
Yes.
But also is adding to my whole, you're sketchy AF. Why are you out at 4 a.m.?
The only time I'm ever out at 4 a.m. is if I'm traveling somewhere that I need to be at a ridiculously early amount of time,
Which
but
didn't apply because he drove right back home.
right. You had no reason. You weren't going to work. You weren't heading somewhere for vacation. What? Yeah. You weren't going to get donuts to share with your children that morning.
No. Oh, no. Also, so a couple of thoughts as we're speaking, just talking this through. I don't understand how, since now if they're declared dead, how you can't use that internet search of how to break necks. How is that not proof of murder? I don't understand. I mean, I know there's no body, but how to break necks in your internet search, and then you have ropes and belts and nooses and things like that. I don't understand. And, you know, Amy and I have talked about recently wanting to also cover cases where people, kids, have been killed, where CPS was called or whatever, and no one intervened. This feels the same. How are we going to let this guy out when the last 5 years he's been deemed not fit to be out in public, but we're just going to send him out and something bad's going to happen?
And we all know that he'll do what he has to do and then dip.
Exactly.
He doesn't have a problem with that.
So I don't know. Especially from my past with my family, I just feel so strongly that this person should not be out living around. My family lives, I don't know, 45 minutes away from Morenci or something like that. You know, I don't want this guy out. And I don't understand why some of these things don't come into play. And maybe they will. I mean, this just happened in March. So maybe they're planning on bringing murder charges. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, but maybe that's in the works.
Yeah, because we're still fresh on it. It's still pretty fresh. So who knows? We still have several months until November. I definitely do want to keep watch on this, though. You may never, I don't even want to say this, you may never find them. I don't know what he done with them, but why can't you be a man enough to admit you did it?
He never will. He's probably a narcissistic POS. But one of the other things that I think should come into play in bringing murder charges is that none of these stories that he told panned out. They didn't find that Joanna woman. They didn't find these underground people. What were they called? Underground sanctuary people.
Mm-hmm.
None of this stuff was proven. So those were all lies.
And then also, Tanya did make clear in her statement while she was doing the hearing to actually declare the children dead that all of the boys, they were very clear in their teachings. Who is your mommy? Who is your daddy? What are their numbers? Where do you live? So they were able, especially the older one that was 9, to tell you who their parents are, what their numbers were, and they knew something wasn't right. So they would have been smart enough, if not by themselves, with the 3 of them, she said, they would have got together because they worked well together and thought of a way to let it be known that something's not right.
Well, and
Somehow, some way.
these kids are now, all 3 of them, in their 20s. The oldest one, Andrew, would be in his mid-20s.
Right.
There's no way that they wouldn't have come forward by now because of what you just said. They know who their
Right.
mom is. They know where they lived. And I get if someone is held for this many years, maybe they would forget some of that information, but there's enough out there. They would have at least, I would think, and listen, I'm not a psychologist, I don't know, I would think they would have at least remembered their last name or something between the 3 of them.
I would maybe not the now if it was just the little 5-year-old and he had been taken to this little sanctuary, you probably could have talked around him and got his little memories out, and he might not have remembered anything that happened before he was 4. I mean, before he was 5, except little bits and pieces that didn't make any sense. But you have the other 2 brothers, so I agree with you, and I agree with the mother.
I
They would
did
have figured
too.
it out.
Yeah, I just feel like they would have been found by now.
Yeah, me too. I agree. And then you have 3 children who do not have birth certificates. They do not have social security cards, ranging from the age 9 to 5. Why don't there would be a lot of questions
Right. They would come
because
up in
you
some
couldn't have
system.
kept. Yes, and if you were hiding them for their safety, you would have had to change their names.
Right. I don't believe it.
Ages. By the time that he was arrested, and judging by the things that he had done, like destroy the house, all the lying, he does not seem like an individual that would have been able to get his 3 children brand new identities and find this underground sanctuary and everything to be peachy like he saying it was. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe he believes now after all these years that that's what happened, but it's not.
Right. And according to his neighbors, he wasn't even physically caring for himself. So if you're incapable of even taking care of yourself and bathing or whatever the case might have been, how are you doing all of this?
I don't know. I'm not a specialist. I'm not anybody special at all, but I'm still calling dope.
Yep.
I think he got out there on some kind of substance and just got out there. It's what it looked like to me.
It's possible only because, and I didn't hear anything about that. That wasn't in anything I watched or read or anything, but
Just looked like it.
the behavior too,
Yes.
declining.
Yes.
Yeah.
And would it have been possible for him to have been indulging in extracurricular activities with other substances that are illegal and Tanya not realize during their marriage? Yeah, it could have been.
Agree.
She may have not have had a clue. And maybe he just got to the edge of his addiction when all this started happening, because we all know that some drugs will make you hallucinate, think things are happening when they're not happening. Maybe that's where he dreamed up those allegations in his head about her sexually abusing their children.
Yeah. I wish that there had been something that, and maybe you heard it, I didn't hear it in anything that I watched. We watched different things, which I kind of liked.
I did watch the one that you watched, the court TV, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I did
But
watch that.
I didn't hear them say, did Tanya at any point say, was he a loving husband? Was he an abusive husband? Was he a narcissistic person? I want to know what he was like before this happened. Maybe he's just an evil person.
From what I gathered in her testimony, it did kind of little bit come up, and she said that they had a normal marriage. They had their disagreements here and there, just like any other couple. And before all this happened, she thought their marriage was good.
Okay, so more like you said, maybe a substance abuse or a mental health break or something like that, then
Maybe.
if that's not the case. Okay.
And
I'm
I do want to correct that, because it could have been substance abuse. And as you said, it could have been some kind of mental illness. Yeah,
combo.
something was going on there. You can look at the guy and tell that he's not someone that you would want to walk down a dark alley and walk up to and him have a question for you the way he looked in the court. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like in a lot of these cases, there's an already pre-existing mental health issue. And then when you mix in substances, it's game over.
Bingo. Yeah. I mean, how could it not be? Because they're mind altering, and you already have things in your mind that you need help with, and they're just not correct.
Yeah. And again, these are just our theories.
Right.
We didn't read this anywhere. We don't know. We're just speculating.
Right.
But I will say that in the court TV doc, everyone that they interviewed, like FBI, police, detective, whoever, they all think he murdered the boys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean, everybody does.
right.
And even the judge that has to let him free, I'm sure is like, well, you little SOB, I know what you did, you know?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Everybody
say it.
knows.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Terrible person. Should not
You
be out.
suck.
Should not be out.
No, you
So
suck.
I don't even need to ask, but I'll just put it out there. Just so, what's your opinion on mom, dad, what happened to the boys? Like, I already know, but
I think that, yeah, they may have had a fine marriage, but I'm going to think that there's probably some difficulties that need to be overcome on both sides. I watched her entire hour, I guess you would
testimony.
call it. Yeah, it was pretty much like an interview though, because that's all I watched was just her part. But I didn't feel like she just was off. I would really have liked to have had her on here to speak with her and just kind of gauged and spoke with her, you know,
Maybe one day.
because I,
Maybe she'll see my message in a couple of months. Who knows?
yeah, because I'm going to go ahead and the more we have been talking about this case, this is what I'm going to say I feel after watching that and then having the time to reflect while we're talking. I really guess that I cannot judge how her actions are or what have you because I'm not in her shoes. Everybody grieves different. One day she had three live, loving little boys, and the next day she didn't. So I would have, all I'm going to say is I would just really have liked to have the pleasure to meet her.
One
Him,
day.
wouldn't, I wouldn't grace him the chance to be on
Heck
our
no.
podcast. No,
I don't give voices to murderers.
no,
No.
no.
I give voices to victims. Yeah. And you obviously, well, I shouldn't put words in your mouth. What do you think happened to them?
I think something went down in that house. I don't I'm still going to stick with my substance abuse and mental illness. Something probably went down that morning, you know how kids are. Maybe when some spilt something, did something, set dad over the rage and I'm going to say even if it wasn't that, something put him over the edge and he started tearing up the house. I think that he probably during or after or before killed his children. Then he put them in his truck. He took that drive. He disposed of them, obviously, very well. And then he drove home.
I
Didn't go to the
believe,
hospital because hurt his leg or his ankle while he was disposing of his children. And he's obviously not a very good liar. But I think everything probably went down in that home. I mean, and it might have, now that I'm even thinking about it even more, how do we not know that that was all Tanya driven? I'm going to destroy everything that we had, everything that you love if you don't want to be with me. I don't know what was going through his head, but those things make sense. You destroyed her home. You destroyed all of your memories, and you destroyed the children that that the two of you made.
yeah. And on that, I feel like it was more or all, if I can't have you,
No
no
one
one
else
can.
can.
You can't have anything, including the kids that you love. So I'm going to take it all. And I go back to the Facebook post, I love my wife. Forgive me seems like a confession to me. And I agree with everything you just said. The only thing that I maybe think is a little different, I think he destroyed the house, but he took the kids alive in the car
Oh,
to
okay.
Holiday City. And the only reason I think that, and then he did it there and disposed of them, the only reason I think that is because I would assume that they checked his car for evidence. Wouldn't there be some, I mean, I don't, it depends on
True.
how he did it, you know,
True, because the non-killer in me would think that three bodies would make a big mess.
unless his search and he literally broke their necks, there probably wouldn't be.
No, you're right. You could have just piled them up in the back of the truck if you have a, yeah.
So that's the question, I think, is was it in Morenci or was it in Holiday City? And that's it. Those are the only two questions to ask here.
Right, because we still do not know the manner of their death because there's no bodies.
No, and even if they found them at this point, I don't think we'd even know. There's too much decomposition.
Unless maybe where they are, they've stayed in that same vicinity this whole time and you still have the bones, then you could tell. But yeah, you're probably right.
Depends again on the manner.
Right, and where they put them. I mean,
Yeah,
was it to where animals could? That's awful to think about these babies.
I know, but it's a possibility.
I know.
Yeah, sucks. So I think we're basically on the same page here. Just I feel more strongly about the Holiday City thing, and you feel more strongly about the house in Morenci. And I have a friend that I am going to screenshot Holiday City. She's a medium. I'm going to send it to her and just see if she gets any vibes or feels anything off of the. I'm going to send her like one of those Google Map satellite pictures and just see if she feels anything. And I'll let you know.
I don't know if we're still running the way that we're. Yes, you definitely let me know. But if we're still running the way we're thinking, and he wants to take everything away, wouldn't it have been symbolic to have done it in the home?
Well, plus he was clearly in a rage. So, I mean,
It just makes you wonder. I just hate this. Why should you ever have to wonder this about three babies?
yeah.
Sweet little babies.
Either scenario, even if he drove to Holiday City, it was less
It's
than
awful.
30 miles. He could have still been in a rage that whole drive. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like we're on the right track, and it's either your scenario or it's my scenario, and that's it.
Right.
There's
And we're
no
not
other.
disagreeing. We're just saying, we're just working together. I don't know,
Oh
but
yeah.
this is all I have to say, John. Just be honest. I cannot imagine being in Tanya's situation and not know what happened to my three babies. And for 14 years, doing like me and Dawn are doing right now, just speculating and guessing what happened. I mean, that's the least you can do. That's
Well,
the
and
least.
just imagine holding that much hate for this many years.
For
Just,
one woman,
yeah, kind of crazy.
you're petty.
Yeah,
You're petty, dude.
and shouldn't be out.
No. If you could do all of that, let's pretend the children are alive. They've got careers that they love, and the oldest one's getting ready to have kids. Okay, everything's great. It's petty that you tore that house up. It's petty that you had her bring something that she wanted from that home that you bought her back to the house after she took it out. It's petty. So I don't expect you to tell the truth.
Never.
No, you're petty.
Yeah. Well, anyone who might have been in that area in 2010, if you know anything, here's their story. We're talking about Andrew, who was 9, Alexander, who was 7, and Tanner, who was 5. 3 innocent little boys that we believe were killed, and pretty much everybody else believes.
Yeah, because you can't bring where they are now, and you can't bring us anybody that did harm them.
Yeah. So obviously there's nothing to rate here. This is just a story that we wanted to highlight. So yeah, next week, actually, I'm not sure what's next week. So I guess you'll all just have to meet back here in a week and find out.
We'll find out together.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everyone. And we'll talk in a week. Bye.
Bye.